Namaste everyone. I'm glad that we get to do this again. So thanks for tuning in, thanks for showing up. If we haven't met before, my name's Keith, and I love visiting the couch, and I look forward to the next time that I get to come there in person. Today is still a lockdown day for those of us on this side of the ocean, and that's where this title comes from for this class, is adapt, because I feel like we've had to really embrace the idea behind adapting. And when I think about adapting and adaptation, it's a natural thing in a lot of ways. It's how we got to being here, not in this pandemic, but here as a species. If we didn't adapt, if our ancestors weren't able to adapt, then we wouldn't be here. So adapting is natural for us most of the time. But the kind of adapting that we have built into our DNA, that we have built into ourselves, is the kind of adaptation that takes generations. It takes year upon year upon year upon year, and we don't usually feel the immediate effects of adapting. And in this form that we're experiencing right now, this kind of adaptation, it all had to happen incredibly fast, incredibly immediately. And so that kind of adaptation is not the kind of adaptation that we are built for. And the danger, I think, in that kind of adapting is that something gets lost. Now, of course, in all adaptation, something gets lost. Things that we don't need, things that don't serve, things that harm. But in this kind of fast-paced adaptation, there's the potential of losing some part of ourselves, part of that touchstone that keeps us connected to truth and to the ultimate reality of our origin. And that's the thing that makes me want to pause in these moments of change and adapting to make sure that we, all of us, can go back to witnessing that spot, that spark, and that bit of truth, to make sure that even amongst all of the fast-paced change of this rapid-fire adaptation, that we're still holding on to some part of ourselves that is true. We're holding on to the unchanging part of ourselves. And that's important to make sure that we stay with that. Because, let's face it, when this is all over, whatever that means, this period, this pandemic, this lockdown, this crisis, whatever you want to call it, when this is all over, because we've changed so many things so quickly, a lot of them are going to stay. So we're not going to go back to anything. We're going to go through some changes to try to pretend that we're doing the things that we used to do, but we're going to do a lot of things differently, and we need to. That's clear. But a lot of this kind of interaction between each other at a distance is going to remain. A lot of the technology that's become part of our everyday, all day, is going to remain. And so in that, what could we lose? What might we lose? That's the thing to watch out for. So yes, adapt. We're built to adapt. But at the same time that we are adapting, keep a foot in the pool. Keep a foot on the other side of the line. Keep your eye on the truth. Keep your mind on that sense of self, big S, even as you adapt to the changes that we need to adapt to. Here's some words from Osho. It's from Everyday Osho, which is 365 meditations, and this is Start Again. Look around. Whatever you have been doing, that is not the end. Open it up again. Let the journey start again. Bring in new things. Sometimes bizarre, eccentric, sometimes almost crazy. They all help. All inventors are thought to be crazy people, eccentric. They are because they go beyond the limit. They find their own pathways. They never walk on the superhighway. That is not for them. They move into the forest. There is danger. They may be lost. They may not be able to come back again to the crowd. They are losing contact with the herd. Sometimes you may fail. I am not saying that you may not fail. With the new things, there is always danger. But then there will be thrill, and that thrill is worth the risk. At any price, it is worth it. So either bring something new into the world and into the work so that it becomes new and growing, is not mechanical but becomes organic, or change. Change the whole thing and start doing something absolutely new. Go back to the ABCs and become a potter or a musician or a dancer or a vagabond. Anything will do. Ordinarily, the mind will say that this is wrong. You are now established. You have a certain name, a certain fame. And so many people know you. Your work is going well and is paying you well. Things are settled. Why bother? Your mind will say this. Never listen to the mind. The mind is in the service of death. So rather than getting separated from the herd, go back to the ABCs. Go back to the beginning. Bring your hands up to your heart for a moment. And you can close your eyes and you can listen. Amma Taye, Akhilandeshvari Niye, Annapurneshwari Taye, Adi Parashakti Niye. Amma Taye, Akhilandeshvari Niye, Annapurneshwari Taye, Adi Parashakti Niye. Amma Taye, Akhilandeshvari Niye, Annapurneshwari Taye, Adi Parashakti Niye. Amma Taye, Akhilandeshvari Niye, Annapurneshwari Taye, Adi Parashakti Niye. Adi Parashakti Niye. Adi Parashakti Niye. Amma Taye, Akhilandeshvari Niye, Annapurneshwari Taye, O Adi Parashakti Niye. Mother, Divine Mother, Goddess of the universe, Nourisher of all creatures, you are the primal, supreme power. Let your hands drop away. And then you can begin to roll down onto your back. And when you get down onto your back, set the soles of your feet flat to the floor. And just take a moment to notice where you've got your knees in reference to your ankles. And then with an exhale, draw your legs in closer to your body. Give some length to your back. You can use your hands on your knees. And a little movement across your sacrum. And then begin to change your grip, moving your hands onto your feet. And if you tuck your arms a little bit inside your knees, you can plug in a little bit deeper with your arms to your shoulders, coming into a happy baby. If holding onto your feet doesn't work, you can always hold onto your knees here. And then as you settle into your happy baby, try to get more length through your low back. Move your head side to side. And then plug in so you feel your thighs getting closer to your ribs. There's some narrowing across your shoulder blades as that happens. Give yourself one more breath here. And then slowly release the grip. You can hold onto your knees or your kneecaps. And give yourself a rock and a roll. And come on up to sit. And as you come up to sit, transition onto all fours. Come to your hands and your knees. Set it up so that your shoulders are right under your wrists. Lay the tops of your feet out behind you. And anchor into your thumb so you feel the whole inner edge of your arm come to life. Take a simple breath right here. And then as you exhale, move your right foot so it's outside your right pinky finger. And just pause there. Plug in deeper with your right thigh bone and feel the connection. And then you can bend your right knee a little bit more over the top of your ankle. Press into your hands as you breathe in, and then return your right knee back as you exhale. Press in with your hands and exhale your left foot over by your left pinky finger. So at first your weight will drift forward a little bit. Plug in your left thigh, and then bend your left knee and allow yourself to feel the action on the inside of your thigh. Inhale into your hands, and then exhale your knee back in line. Breathe into your hands, and step your right foot there. But this time move your left hand forward, so you can drop onto your left elbow. Watch out for your right knee winging away, and still plug your right hip into the center line of your body. Press into your hands, and then exhale onto all fours. Breathe in, and then exhale your left foot over. Stretch your right hand forward. So when you drop your right elbow, think of it being in line with your left fingers. Plug in. And then breathe in to come back. And exhale to reset. When you breathe out, step your right foot. Move your left hand forward to drop. And then add your right arm into the sky. Rotate. You can gaze up to your hand, or you can keep your gaze down. Breathe in as you reset your hands under your shoulders. And then exhale to all fours. Do it again to the other side. So you breathe out and step. Creep your right fingers up. Press in as you exhale, because your left leg is going to want to change here. And then as you're breathing in, reset your hands and come back to all fours. Curl under your toes here, and then use your exhale to lengthen through your legs and make your way into down dog. Pedal a little bit side to side. Find some room. And then pause and reach deep into your heels. Breathe all the way in. And then exhale your right foot over by your right hand. Open up through your chest and move your left elbow forward. And then add your right arm into the sky, but keep your left leg firm as you do. Breathe in to reset your hands. And then step back for downward facing dog. Breathe all the way in. And then exhale your left foot. Breathe your right hand forward. Firm up and take the twist. Release your hands and step your way back for downward dog. Breathe all the way in. And then exhale. Shift one more time onto your elbow, but pause here and drop your head. Bring both hands under both shoulders and use your exhale to step your left foot forward by your left fingers. Turn your heels in a little bit and sink down. Pull a prayer into the center of your chest. And then as you exhale, drop your hands, lengthen your legs, and narrow your feet. Fold in with your exhale. Inhale your left leg long behind you for a lunge. And then step backward with your exhale for downward dog. Roll out here for plank pose. And then use your exhale to lower all the way down. Peel up your chest and point your toes, little cobra. Curl your toes back under, downward facing dog. Pause to breathe into your hands, and then exhale your left foot forward. Bring your right fingers up and drop your elbow, and then exhale your head. Line up both hands, and then use your exhale to step forward with your right foot. A little turn in and a little sink down. Pull your hands into your heart and find length through your spine. Drop your fingers and lengthen your legs to heel toe in. Fold in Uttanasana. Inhale your right leg to the back. And then breathe out hips high, downward facing dog. Add plank pose as you roll out. Hug your elbows into your body to lower all the way down. Point your toes and then lift your heart. Travel back, downward facing dog. One last time here. Exhale your right foot forward. Inhale your left foot to meet it. Wide stance, sinking into your squat. Breathe in to pull a prayer close. Drop your left elbow and raise your right arm, exhaling into the twist. Breathe in as both hands come back. And then exhale to fold over, heel toe your feet close, Uttanasana. Send your left foot to the back. Breathe out, down dog. Roll forward as you're breathing in for plank. And bend your elbows, lower all the way. Cobra open. Downward facing dog. Use your exhale with your left foot moving by your left pinky. Inhale your right foot by your right little finger. Exhale down. Bring a prayer in with your breath in. Drop your right arm to raise your left arm to twist. Breathe into your prayer. And then exhale. Fold over. Inhale your right leg to the back. And then downward facing dog. Stretch out long. And then you can go all the way or part of the way. Cobra or upward facing. Downward facing dog. Take a walk to the front. And fold deep. Ease your way up to stand. And release your hands. For a moment, just take a look. When we're moving through a Surya, we're going to be stepping wide, or turning out rather, and your heels will always relate to each other. It'll get progressively more open. And that'll be done with the breath in, okay? Start in Tadasana and allow yourself to sink. And then when you breathe in, turn your right toes open comfortably and heel to heel. Exhale a prayer into the center of your heart. And then open your arms wide, Mother of the Universe pose. Pull that back in with a prayer. Line up your 2 feet and exhale your arms away. Turn with your left toes, heel, heel. It might be just bigger than 90 degrees. And exhale a prayer. Inhale your arms open. And then draw everything back and in. Step your feet together. And exhale your arms down. Add to it as you breathe in, step. Exhale in with the prayer. Open up your arms and breathe in. And then as you exhale, left hand on your left knee, slide your right toes to the back. Both arms up as you breathe in. Drop your hands and step back to the back of your mat, downward facing dog. Roll out long for plank. You can lower all the way or part of the way. Cobra or upward facing. Downward facing dog. Soften your knees. Look toward the front of your mat. And as you exhale, hop. And land softly. Breathe in to stretch your spine. And then fold deep. All the way up tall. Namaste your hands, exhaling. With your left foot, step and turn. And then exhale in your prayer. Open out your arms, breathe in. And then as you're breathing out, drop your right hand and slide your left toes to the back. Breathe in both arms for a high lunge. And then drop your hands as you move through a vinyasa. When we get to the jump, so you're moving here and lowering, but know that when we get to jumping forward, think about squat legs so that you have bent knees rather than straight legs. Soften your knees and see where you want to go. And then think about a squat in the air before you land. Open up and fold deep. All the way up. And then release. Again with your right toes, maybe a bigger turnout. Exhale a prayer. Spread out through your toes as your arms open up. So that you drop your left hand. Reach up with your right arm. But then drop your left fingers and side bend. Both arms up with the breath in. And then release, 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 downward facing dog. Roll out long. And lower. And open up. Meet back and down dog. You don't have to hop, but if you are, soften. Catch some air on the way forward. Inhale some length, and then fold deep. Urdhva Hastasana as you breathe in. Breathe out with your hands at your heart. With your left toes, turn them out, heel to heel. Bring in your prayer. Open up with the breath Turn and pivot, drop your right hand, move your left toes to the back. Inhale your left arm up. Side bend to the right. Both arms up. And then release your hands to step back, downward facing dog. Roll it out. Hover or drop all the way. Open up. And then downward facing dog. Soften through your legs. Take a hop forward. Open through your chest. And then fold over deep. Arms all the way up, breathing in. Namaste your hands. And release your arms. Take an extra breath here. Sink deep into your feet. Notice your heartbeat. And then one more time, exhale. We're going to take that step a little bit bigger now. So rather than stepping and turning with heel to heel, it'll turn into a bigger goddess stance. So it starts with Utkatasana, breathing in. Your right leg will move as you step and turn out, stepping toward the back of your mat. So you've got your toes out and your heels in. Bring a prayer into the center of your heart. And then pause there. So your hands are at your heart now, but move them toward the front of your mat and then lean in that direction so your leg at the back gets longer. Come back, release your hands, turn in your toes, and simply step up to the front. Try that much on the other side. Utkatasana, breathing in. Take your left foot, step it to the back of your mat. Heels in, toes out. And pull in a prayer. Sink down. Watch out for sticking your butt out behind you. Pause there. Move your hands toward the front of your mat. Bend your knee. And lean toward the front side of your mat. Come back to both knees being bent. Drop your hands. Turn your toes, pivot, and simply step. And then we'll add to that. Inhaling Utkatasana. Move your right leg back with the exhale for goddess. Bring in the prayer and lift it up. Inhale. When you exhale, pull it over toward the front of your mat. Bend your left knee and lengthen through your right leg. Shift that so you turn to the back of your mat for warrior two. Open up wide across your chest. When you breathe in, stretch your leg long, turn your feet parallel, and fold over. Prasarita. Give yourself a breath all the way in, and exhale all the way out. Walk over to your toes, turn that into a lunge. Step back for down dog. Roll forward. Lower down. Open up. Meet for down dog. You can take the same froggy hop on the way forward. And open up. Fold deep. Utkatasana. And then release for Tadasana. Breathe in Utkatasana. Step with your left leg, wide goddess stance. Pull in your prayer and lift it up. Breathe all the way in. Take your prayer over toward the front of your mat with your right shoulder. Lengthen. Press into the ball of your right foot to turn to the back of your mat. Warrior two. Open across your chest, and then lengthen through your leg, turn in, and fold deep. Stay low as you pivot, and step to the back of your mat. You can stay with down dog, move through a vinyasa. Open up. And back to down dog. Soften. You can step or walk or jump. Open up. And then fold deep. Utkatasana as you come up. And release Tadasana. Breathe in Utkatasana. Step with your right leg. Wide stance. Heels in, toes out. Take your prayer. But then cactus open your arms. Lift your arms a little bit. So you feel yourself sort of embodying the Frogger from the Atari game. Sink in. And then from there, pull your prayer over to your left shoulder. Lengthen. Press through your left foot to shift. Start with Warrior 2, but then lengthen through your right leg for triangle pose. Breathe all the way in and all the way out. Press into your right heel, pivot your foot parallel, and fold deep. Walk over to the front of your mat for a lunge. Step to the back of your mat, downward facing. Roll out long. Lower down. Open up. And meet back at downward dog. Soften your knees. Take a leap. Get long. And then fold. Utkatasana. Release for Tadasana. Exhale. Utkatasana. Breathing in. With your left leg, step wide, heels, pray, and then open up your arms. Lift them a little bit. When you exhale, the prayer comes to your right shoulder, to the front of your mat. Lengthen your back leg. Press and shift. Start with Warrior 2, facing your left toes, and then lengthen. Reach by pulling in with your left hip. Drop your left fingers. Turn at your belly, then your chest, finally your head. Press into your left heel, pivot in, parallel, Prasarita Padottanasana. Spin over, face the front, take a lunge, downward dog. You can stay here or move. Breathing in and breathing out. Open up. Back to down dog. Soften up. See where you go. And then fold. Utkatasana. Tadasana. One more each side. Utkatasana. With your right leg, pray. Reach up with a long prayer and then sink deep. Move the prayer. Lengthen your right leg. Shift to the back of your mat. Start with Warrior 2. Keep your right knee bent. Drop your right fingers and reach long with your left arm. Uttita Parshva Konasana. Keep plugging in your right leg. Drop your left fingers. Pivot to the middle and fold. Walk to the front, and then step to the back, downward dog. Soften up, leap. Open your heart, belly, ribs, chest, face. Bend your knees, Utkatasana, sink in but lift up. Release, Tadasana. Last time with your left leg, step, heels, pray, and then inhale your prayer up. Pull it toward the front side of your mat, lean in that direction. Start with Warrior 2, face the back. Keep your knee bent, release your left fingers, and reach with your right arm, but then pull deeper with your left hip crease. Release your arm, parallel your feet, and fold over. Walk to the front, step to the back, stretch out long, and then hover, chaturanga. Flip your toes to open up, and downward dog. Soften your legs, take one last hop. Open up, and then fold. Utkata as you come up. And release. Good. I'm going to turn and face you to mirror you for a little bit. So stand in Tadasana first. Put the weight over into your right foot and draw your left foot up. Coming into a simple tree. Draw your hands into your heart. And then there's a little bend that starts in your standing leg. And as you do that, turn open so that you feel your two knees moving away from each other. Make sure that your right knee is still going over your right toes. Keep your prayer. And then as you lengthen through your standing leg and come back to the center, release so that you slide your left toes back, drop your right fingers, and open up Ardha Chandra. Draw your left knee forward and catch it with your left hand. Guide your leg, step your foot, and fold in. Up to stand, and then release. Take the other side now, so you put the weight into your left foot. And draw your right leg to where it's right for you, for tree pose, for Vrikshasana. Start with a prayer. And already as you start to bend a little bit into your left knee, there's a turn that happens so that you feel almost as though your legs are moving in a V. Just enough bend. Perching. As you start to come back through center and lengthen and hinge and release, your left fingers drop so you can lift through your right arm for Ardha Chandrasana. Pull your knee forward so you can use your right hand to hold it. Close your hip, step your foot, and fold in deep. All the way up. And then release your hands. You can be a tree again as you shift, or this time when your left ankle comes up, you can cross over for more of a figure four. Start with the same prayer. Bend your standing leg. Let your body rotate left, and then you can sink deeper by moving your hip crease deeper. So there's a bit more anterior tilt, and you'll feel it across your outer hip there. Open your arms, breathing all the way in and all the way out. Pull in your prayer, stay with the bend, take your left hand, grab your heel, and draw your leg up. You can start with your hand on your hip on the right side, and then you can take hold of your left big toe and extend your leg. Open up. Breathe all the way across your arms, Parshvasahita. And then rebend through your left leg. Lift up before you release. Other side, shifting into your left leg. Can be a tree again, or take your figure four, but do flex at your ankle. Pray your hands, and then as you're bending, allow yourself to rotate right. Sink in. Pull deeper with your right hip crease, and then open up through your arms. Spread some joy or some flower petals. Or if you've been doing a lot of baking, spread some flour. Keep the bend. Use your hand to grab your own heel so that you draw up before you let go. Hand on your hip. You can peace grip around your right big toe. And then extend your leg, which doesn't mean force or straight. Open up through your left arm. Breathe in across the span. And then soften. Draw up. And then release. One more time as you shift over into your right foot. Could be a tree or a figure 4. Or you can set up a half lotus, bringing your foot all the way up into your hip crease. Soften through your standing leg. Begin the rotation. Pull in your prayer. Bend your standing knee a little deeper if that's okay for you. Open up your arms one last time. Pull in your prayer. Stretch your standing leg. And press your left ankle against your thigh. Add your arms into the sky. Breathe all the way in. Pull down your prayer. Move your right hand to your hip. Use your left peace fingers to find your toe. And that same lifting up. Plug in with your left arm. And then you can extend your leg forward. Utthita Hasta Padangusthasana. Add your arm. Breathe up through your chest. And then drop your hand. Bend your left knee. And release. Last time on the other side. Tree, figure 4. Or gather your foot up into your hip crease. Start to bend your standing leg. Pull a prayer to your heart. Sink in. And then bend your standing knee a bit deeper before you open your arms. Breathe all the way in. Start to draw back in, but zip up underneath your pelvis so that you dig into the ground. Pray. And then reach up. Breathing all the way in. Draw that back down. Left hand to your hip. Peace grip around your big toe. And then extend. Utthita Hasta. Grow from the ground. So as you reach up with your left fingers, drop your right hip a little bit. And then soften. Draw up and release. Spend a moment on both feet. And then turn yourself back over to the front side of your mat if you changed. Bend your knees, Utkatasana. And fold over. And step back for downward dog. Take a few exhales here. And breathe all the way out. And give yourself one more breath. And then with your breath in, shift your right shin up to the front. Release through your left toes. Pause for a pigeon. Recurl your back toes. Tent your fingers so that when you lengthen up, your stance can get shorter as you rock back to lengthen through your leg. Move your right hand over to your hip and cross your left arm over. Rotate through your spine and then add your right arm to the sky. Release your hand. Move your hands forward like they were before so that you can press into your back toes to step back for down dog. Right to the other side, move your left shin forward. Sink the crease deeper into your left hip. Release your back toes. Open up. Tent your fingers. Press into your back toes. Shorter stance. Ground your back heel without turning your toes out too much. Move your left hand to your hip, right hand somewhere close to your foot. Rotate and open up. Get longer through your spine here, from tail to head. Release your hand. So remember, they go forward a bit. Turn onto your back toes, step to the back, down dog. And again, your right shin comes forward. Sink in, release your back toes, open up more of your chest. Give yourself a little roll back with your shoulders. And then keep tenting your fingers. Draw up, but then see if you can step right in between your thumbs. Pause there. Take your right hand up onto your right leg and reach up with your left arm. Use that to then cross over and hook to the outside if that works for you. Your fingers can drop down or you can have a prayer. Reaching up with your right arm. Make sure with your back toes, your left toes, that you stay center on the ball of your foot. And then release both hands. Frame your foot. And step your way back. Down dog. Other side. Move your left shin up. Deepen your left hip crease. Point through your back toes. Pause here. Give yourself a sinking in. Tent your fingers, curl your back toes, and then step right in between your thumbs. Left hand up on your left thigh, and then reach up with your right arm. So that when you come across, you can hook for a prayer or drop your fingers. You can stay there with your left hand on your hip, or add your left arm into the sky. When you release, both hands come down, frame, and step to the back. One more time with a pigeon, right leg. Sink in, point your toes, but then walk your hands to the right. Tent your fingers as you go. So that can be your stopping place. Or drop your left elbow. Add some more rotation. You can even begin to drop your left shoulder. And take your right arm up to the sky. And then release that. Stay close to a pigeon feeling. Start to let your right hip get heavier. Bend your left knee so that you turn to the left and your legs are slightly 90-90. Your left hip won't touch the ground here. But as you begin to take a counter twist, your left arm can go around your back, and you might find a little bit of your inner thigh somewhere near your knee. And then your right hand can cross over to find the other knee. If your feet got closer, you can open up the space a little bit there. Taking a counter mandala twist. And then undo it, back around to the front, right into downward dog. Last time with your left shin, start with pigeon, release your back toes, and then begin to walk left. You can drop your elbow, or begin to let your right arm come down and across. If you're down, raise your left arm. as you release, keep the pigeon. Sink deeper into your left hip. Rotate some open with your right leg. Bend in. So it's almost as if your lower leg and your upper leg are in parallel relationship. Your right arm around your back. And then your left hand can reach across for your knee. Taking a counter rotation to the right. Both feet can flex. And then slowly undo it. Come back around. Downward dog. Walk your hands and feet toward each other and fold in. Come on up to stand. I'm going to stay in profile as we set up the arm balance. So it's still going to be your left ankle coming across first. And then when you bend your standing leg, let your left hand reach down first. So you can cross right in front of your own knee. Maybe your hand comes to the ground. Try just that much on the other side. Cross your right ankle over. Bend your standing leg, flex your right foot, and your right hand reaches away from you to get some length, but then feel the back of your arm touching the front of your knee. So that can be the work, and you can keep doing that, or add to it, left ankle, bend your right knee, reach your left arm, and then perhaps your right arm also comes down in front of your shin, so you can flex your left foot. Ease back up. Take your right ankle across. Bend your left knee. Reach with your right arm. Drop, make the contact. And then your left arm, so that your right toes hook and flex and drop. And then ease your way back up and release. Last time, your left ankle can come across. Bend your right knee. Sink down. If both hands get there, bend your standing leg deeper so there's more weight in your hands. Flex your left foot. Shift the weight into your hands so that as your elbows bend, your right toes can pick up, and then perhaps your right leg can extend out. Draw back in, land on your toes, and then ease yourself up. Pause. And then on the other side. Right. Right. Left. So if both hands come down, make sure that you lean so that your shin presses the back of your arms. Anchor. Feel less weight on your foot. Bend your elbows so that your toes might lift. And then your left leg can stretch out. Ekapadagalavasana. Draw in. Release. And step. All the way up. Shake it off. Hopefully you didn't land on your face. But that happens. And then have a seat. And start with your legs out long in front. I'll say right now, if you have a blanket, be great to have around. If you're close to a wall, be great to be close. And then start by taking your right leg and moving toward a half virasana. So you could slide a blanket underneath your bum there. And just make sure that you're not squeezing into the center and that your foot's not sickling out. And then bend through your left knee. And you can adjust there. Kind of pick up your butt, put it back down. Your right hand on your knee, your left hand on the opposite leg. Pause there. Get tall. And then release that first side. Lean left. Undo your leg out long. Lean to your right. So you can come in for a half Virasana. So if half Vira isn't good for your knee, you could always come into this place or a loose Janush kind of feeling, because it's going to end up being more about the second leg. And then bend through your right knee. Adjust so you feel your sitting bones. And then hands on your knees. This helps draw your leg into the midline. This one gives you a little bit of length. And then release. Undo. And then we add to it. So that when you bend through your right knee, and I'll mirror you here for a moment. You can bend your right knee. And then bend your left leg again. But then moving on from that, you use your right hand to hold on to your left heel. And then your left fingers can tent the ground, so you lift your butt for a moment, land a little bit more toward the outer edge of your hip, and then you can use your right arm to help cradle your leg. Your body will naturally rotate a little bit left, just like when you were standing up. Breathe into your spine. Make sure you're flexing through your left foot here. And then slowly release and undo your leg. And then change to the other side, so that your left leg can go into a half Vira. Set your right foot down. And then when you reach across with your left hand, you're going to the sole. You can use your right hand to draw your knee up and back some, flex through your right foot, come toward your center line, and then you can change it so that your left elbow hooks around, your right fingers can tent, a little lift, sink again, so there's some of that deepening in your hip, and then cradle, and naturally rotate a little bit open from your center to the right. And then undo it. Slowly and release. And then as you come out of that, if you have a blanket and you're close to a wall, you can just spread it so it gives some padding next to the wall. And then you'll go back on your knees. And I'll still mirror you here, okay? So that you'll set it up so that your knees are on the blanket. Your left knee goes all the way against the wall, so that when you come down, you've got a half frog through your right leg. And perch up on your elbows, so you feel very sphinx-like. And having the wall here isn't essential, but it means that your foot stays in flexion and you kind of know where your foot is in space. Make it more about your chest opening than something that's happening in your hip. So you feel the makings of a back bend. Make sure your toes that are up on the wall are really pointed and not drifting side to side. Press in a little bit. And then you can shift right from there, moving your right knee to the wall, toes up, and then turning open so that now your left foot comes down. Dig into your elbows, so try not to sink into your shoulders, but press. And open up. Try not to get into shoving at all, so it's not about a deep back bend. Give yourself one more moment. And then soften. And then from there, you do want both knees to open up into that shape of a half frog. So make sure there's some padding, a little bit of mat, a little bit of blanket, soles against the wall. And start with your hips high, your butt high, so that you can really move back a little bit into the bend. Move your elbows forward some. And then as you move your hips forward and your chest opens, allow yourself to find some more room across your chest. And when you're doing that, your hips get heavier, your belly gets heavier. And you can still float there. So you come into a froggy sphinx. And if there's room, you move it back just a little, and you deepen it one more time. Breathing all the way in and out. And then walk your hands in. Shift your weight to move your knees. And you can move back onto your mat. Have a seat on your heels. Pause for a moment. If you have a strap handy, you can pull that close to your mat. Your blanket can always get used as you come into a pigeon. Your right shin up to the front. And then you can keep this where it needs to be, right? For you. When you bend through your back leg, your left hand can reach back around the big toe side to sink in. And you can stay there. If you like, you can bend your left knee a little bit deeper so that there's more space in the front of your leg and stay there. You can change where your left hand is to the small toe side of your foot with your palm open, and then bend into your elbow so that you feel your chest wanting to spin forward. And you can do this with a strap as well. You'll see that on the other side a little bit easier. And then you can stay here or begin to rotate your shoulder blade so that you can flip your hand up on top. Rekapada Raja Kapotasana. And then slowly release. And head to the other side. Your left shin up to the front. And then wherever you need to be. So here is great. The big toe side of your foot here, great. A deeper bend, great. Or you can move to the outer edge, turn your palm open, and take hold of your foot. So it might be rotating here with your elbow so that your grip flips to come up on top. That can always be done with a strap, hooking and rotating. Before you release. And then swing your leg around to the front so you can lie down to take a wheel to even things out. If wheel's not your thing, you could lie on your belly and take a bow pose, or bring your hands next to your head. Narrow your elbows, anchor your thumbs, pause with your hips up, and then when you breathe in, add your arms. Let your head hang easy. And then chin to your chest. Even yourself down. Knees side to side. And then roll to your side. So you can come up to sit. And when you come up to sit, you turn sideways on your mat if that works. You can keep it some other way, so you open your legs up wide. And at first, just let your feet tick-tock, left and right, left and right, left and right. And then pause. Use your left hand to reach across. Let your left toes turn in, and that's going to roll your leg inward. So you've got one hip down and one hip up. And then when you come out of that, turn your toes back up, lean over to the left so that you can drop your elbow, rotate open, add your right arm into the sky, and reach up and over. You can drop a little bit lower and find a toe. Swing your arm low to come back up. And then take your your right hand, and reach across. Turn your right toes in. So you feel yourself turning in with your right leg. So you've got your left hip down and your right hip floats. And then rotate that back down so you can lean over to the right, drop your right elbow, turn open. Add your left arm to the sky. And then reach up and over. You can get lower and nab a toe. And then swing your arm low to come back up. So that when you come in, set it up so that your right shin, I'm still mirroring, comes down, and your left ankle can come up. You can slide something into the space between your knee and your ankle there, but pull your femur bone back into the socket so that there's a deeper crease as you begin to move toward this fire log, Agni Stamba. Pray your hands together, hinge forward, and then if you do make contact with your body, make sure you're not shoving any weight there. Keep both feet flexing. And then slowly bring yourself up and change it. So now your left leg's on the bottom, your right ankle can come across. Actively think about moving your right femur bone back in the socket so that you can lower your knee, flex both feet, pray both hands. And of course you could always do this like a seated figure 4 too, with your bottom leg out long. Hinge, and then let your elbows come in close, or they can touch your body, landing near your knee and in your arch. And then slowly ease yourself up. Undo it to stretch your legs out long. You can have a little bend under your knees as you set up. Reach your hands forward and then activate your spine so there's a lengthening upwards before you want to go down. And then hinge and bow for Paschimottanasana. And ease yourself up. And you can begin to lie down on your back and take rest in Shavasana or in some other shape that works for you. You can also use this time to sit. And sink into yourself in some fashion. And allow your breath to become shallow. body to feel weighty. These are some more words from Osho as you sink in. It's called the thread. The world is in constant flux. It is river-like. It flows, but behind all this flow, change, flux, there must be a thread that keeps everything together. Change is not possible without something remaining absolutely unchanging. Change can exist only together with a non-changing element. Otherwise, things will fall apart. Life is like a garland. You don't see the thread that runs through the flowers, but it is there, holding them together. If the thread were not there, the flowers would fall apart. There would be a heap of flowers, but no garland. And existence is not a heap. It is a very well-knit pattern. Things are changing, but some unchanging element keeps a cosmic law behind it all. That cosmic law is called Sadashiva, the eternal God, the timeless God, the non-changing God. And that is the work of the meditator, to find the thread. There are only two types of people. One gets too enchanted by the flowers and forgets the thread. They live a life that cannot have any lasting value or significance, because whatever they do will vanish. Today they will make it. Tomorrow it will be gone. It will be making castles of sand or launching boats of paper. The second type of person searches for the thread and devotes their life to that which always abides. They are never a loser. Words from Osho. So as we adapt, we have to remember not to be enchanted by the flowers, but to stay ever more connected to the thread. The thread that holds it all together. It would be as if, as we benefit from the adaptations of those who have come before us, that we would be some other species, but we are not. We are still the same species that we have been for generations. We hold on to that truth. And if we know that as a species, as a people, that we're made up of the same spark, that spark of the divine, that thread is there, no matter how we change on the outside or how the world changes around us. So we seek the thread even in the midst of change. Even as we set change in motion, we look for the thread, we embrace the thread, we try to inhabit the space of the thread. Roll onto your side. Begin to find a bend in your knees. And come on up to sit. And bring your hands into your heart. We are one life, we are one light, and we are one love. It's with gratitude that we bow, honoring the light in each other. Peace be with you, blessings upon you. Thanks for tuning in, thanks for logging in. It's great to share some practice with you. We'll try to do this again at some point as the world around us continues to evolve and change and we continue to adapt. I'll stay on for a few minutes to say hi and check in. Thanks, y'all.